What's going on, everybody? It's your man with the plan, Shayman20, and on today's video I'm going to show you how to remove your old junk exhaust and install a new Corsa Catback exhaust system on your 14 and up Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra. So before we get much further into this video, I just want to let you guys know that I wasn't able to cover as much of the installation as I wanted to. I did have my dad helping me out with this installation, so he was kind of pushing things along just a little bit, but I mean most of it was just we wanted to try and get it in, make sure everything was going to be alright, and yeah. And one thing I will let you guys know is that this exhaust system is actually really easy to install. There is nothing complicated about it. The only thing you really need to remember is that once you've cut the factory exhaust system, that's it. You are committed. And in all honesty, we had to take it out in 3 pieces. So that really says a lot about GM and how they put their exhaust on, and really I want you guys to keep that in mind. So for now, if at any point throughout this video you guys have any questions about the installation process, whether it's the removal, the install itself, any quality things, please don't hesitate to ask. I will answer any of those questions for you guys. When you get your package from Corsa and you open the box for the first time, the very first thing you should see on top is this little instruction packet. This is going to list the tools you're going to need, the materials that you will have in this package, as well as how to remove the stock system and how to put on your new Corsa exhaust system. Here are some of the things we're going to use. WD-40 with penetrating oil to help break the spherical clamp bolt loose. A couple of wire brushes just in case you've got a little bit of rust buildup on the spherical clamp bolt. Ratchet. 13 and 15 millimeter deep sockets. Screwdriver to help get the spherical clamp off of the factory exhaust. Impact drill. Now I know it's not necessary to actually use an impact, but if you do have a torque wrench that you can use in place of that, for the factory spherical clamp bolt you will need to torque it down to 21 foot-pounds, and then the rest of the Torque hardware you will need to torque down to 45 foot-pounds. Sawzall with metal cutting tip, even though we don't have it on there right now. Alright guys, well we got the truck all jacked up, as you can see, and as you can clearly tell, this is a gravel driveway. This is not going to be comfortable at all, because you know, most backyard people, this is what they're going to have to deal with if they want to do this themselves. It's kind of bittersweet to take off this quiet exhaust, but oh well, we're just gonna live with it because I've already bought it and I've already made the decision. You guys can tell we're underneath the truck, and we just went ahead and put on a little bit of soapy solution to kind of help get the rubber grommets to everything to slide off the grommets, and we put a little bit of lubricant on some of the bolts and the hardware just to see if we could get them to break loose easily. So that's where we're starting first, and yeah. Alright guys, so we're going to take off this bolt right here for this clamp. There's the head of it is on the top side, so what you'll need to use is, I'm using a 14, so we're going to use a 14 to get it off, and yeah, we're already committed. So as you guys can see, I've got my safety glasses on. I decided to go on ahead and change over to those, and we got the first part of the exhaust out. One thing to note, it is a pain in the butt to get that clamp, and the reason why is because it does not spin, and if you'll notice, it's got like a little hook-on deal here to keep it centered in place, and so that's just how it works. So anyways, that much of the exhaust is out. We're going to do the next section. Alright guys, so we've got the exhaust completely out. As you can see, we had to take it out in 3 sections. Just, it makes it that much easier, especially for a backyard mechanic. And I can't help but want to hear this thing started up with just, you know, no pipes on it at all, so why not? Alright guys, we got the exhaust in place, so I'm just going to walk y'all through it the best I can. I know I did a shitty job at doing this install video, like unlike last time. It was pretty good. This one's a little bit done up just because it was sort of quick to throw it in. Not necessarily my fault, it's just how everything played out this time. So you've got your spherical clamp right here, and it does fit perfectly right in here. And for those of you who don't know, this is the GM spherical clamp that they give, that you get with the stock exhaust. You will have to reuse it. This part right here would be on top of your stock exhaust, but in this case you can now clock it wherever you want, and in my case I clocked it right here, so if I ever decide to put headers on it, it's good to go right there. Work our way back. I did put some lube, some soapy solution right in here just to make sure it would get through in there and slide on just fine, and it does work really well like that. Slid on right here. Do not forget, if you can kind of see a little bit of a groove right there, that is where the groove of your muffler, that's the front side of the muffler, and then the back side will have no groove whatsoever. So working our way down, as you can see, everything fits nicely. Same thing with the rubber grommets. Did everything with soapy solution there. Everything works and fits fine. Once you've got this all tightened up and in place, it does not go anywhere. It's pretty stiff, so you don't have to worry about it moving anywhere or getting clocked any which way. And so it was actually a really smooth process, and I'll show you guys the tip next. And as you guys can see, the tip on this fits really well. It's pretty close to here. I mean, it looks really nice and almost factory-like. It looks really good. And then, as you can see, it does bolt on right here. I do like these clamps a little bit better. You're not using a a bolt rather than, in this case, a nut. So I like that better. Good job on your part, Corsa. So now that everything is installed and all of our junk is out here, I guess there's only one thing left to do, kids. You know what that means. It's time for the first start of the new Corsa Catback exhaust system. I'm ready. So I know I did a really bad job at explaining as well as showing you guys how this exhaust system goes in. So what I'm going to do is try and explain everything the best I can with the stock exhaust removed and the new exhaust system already on the truck. So as you guys can see, there's three different sections here. The bottom part right here is actually where the beginning of the former exhaust system, the factory exhaust, started. What you're going to have to do first is cut about 12 inches away from the muffler, and either using a chain style pipe cutter or a sawzall. Just be careful when you use the sawzall. Make sure to make that cut. It's going to make it much easier getting this entire section out, because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be able to save your factory exhaust. After that, what you're going to have to do is there's a spherical clamp that goes right around here. The head of the bolt will be right here. You will need to use your deep well 13mm socket to loosen that up. Now, what you're also noticing right here is this little part. You're going to ask me, what is that for? Well, on the spherical clamp, there's a piece that actually secures itself right here to keep it from moving and shifting anywhere. So when you actually loosen the clamp, it's not going to move anywhere. You can't move it around to try and get it in a better position to take it off. You're just going to have to deal with it the way it is. And the fact that you will have this section already cut off, you will then be able to, once you have the spherical clamp loosened, you will be able to rotate it and break it loose. If your exhaust is much older, say if you have a truck with a lot of miles on it already, it's going to be a pain in the butt to break this loose. But if you have a newer truck, it should be much easier. Just twist it loose, and everything should come right off. Now, the next thing you will have to have is your grommet puller, and you will need to pull the rubber grommet off of this particular hanger right here, or if you have a second set of hands that's willing to help you, you can have them grab a hold of that rubber grommet while you pull this out. Same thing goes for this side of the exhaust system, and what we actually ended up having to do is cut it right at the wheel arch for the old resonator. So just to be able to get the rest of the exhaust system out, because we knew we weren't going to salvage any of this exhaust, so we just decided to say screw it and cut everything out. This is the spherical clamp in question. Make sure that you do not, under any circumstances, do not throw that away. You will need to reuse it when putting in the new Catback exhaust. Just remember that will use a 13mm deep well socket. Now, here is where the new head section comes in. This right here is where obviously the muffler butts up into it. What you need to remember is that the end with the slots in it on the muffler is the end that will face towards the engine. Also, you will need to make sure that you have the seam side up facing towards the truck, because you have a weep hole at the very bottom that needs to be facing down. And just for record, these clamps will use the 15mm deep well socket. And then putting the tip on is a breeze. All you need to know is that your clamp is right back here, and there's no any fancy stuff to it. Just get it clocked where you really want it, and then make sure to secure it down really well. And then just as an added bonus, I would recommend polishing it if you'd like to keep it nice and clean. I already did it, even though you can still kind of see some trails from the exhaust. I'll probably end up cleaning it later on. So those are just some tips that I would recommend, and that's basically an entire overview of the installation. The installation itself is actually really easy. If you have a second set of hands, or you have the rubber grommet pullers, that will make your installation a lot easier, as well as either a Sawzall or a chain style pipe cutter. That will make your installation a lot easier. I promise you, you are not going to use the stock system anymore after you put this in. You are not going to regret it. So with all that stuff explained, hopefully you guys will understand that better. And just for you guys, if you have any questions, or maybe you want to see something a little bit more in detail, I'll be more than happy to show you guys underneath the truck and what I have of the former exhaust system left. It's only going to be around for a short time, so if you have any questions, you'd better ask now, because the stock exhaust system will be gone pretty soon. Now, with all that said, let's do a cold startup! Wraps up the installation video. Like I said, guys, I'm sorry that I didn't really go into detail like I did the last video with the catch cam, but like I said, if you guys have any questions about the installation of this system, removal, things like that, make sure to hit me up in the comment section, and if we get enough questions about it, we may do like something like an FQA video, and I'll go over everything once again. Also, hopefully the other clips that I did explaining what we had to do to get through everything helps everybody out. So with all that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Also, if this is your first time stopping into the channel, please make sure to subscribe. Also, do not forget about that notification bell next to the subscribe button. Make sure to hit that so you're always notified of when I post new videos, because nobody likes being left out in the dark. I don't like being left out in the dark. Alright? So with all that said, guys, hopefully you have a fantastic day. Take care. Have a great day.